So the Aces won back-to-back championships and were favorites to win a third this season. But it seems like the dynasty is done. I highly, highly doubt that we see the Aces anywhere in the vicinity of a WNBA championship next year, unless they can get a real splash free agency. And by splash free agency, I mean, I don't just mean bringing in Brittany Griner. Like, I don't just mean bringing her in, because I don't think bringing Brittany Griner in solves a lot of the Aces' problems. They still suck on defense, even with Brittany Griner, and she'll, as good as she can be on offense, as fantastic as she can be on offense, like, it's not really going to turn them into, it's not going to make them beat the Liberty, because Brittany Griner's not going to destroy John Quell, and Stewie matches up to Asia. So I still don't see them beating the Liberty, especially if the Liberty go and without losing Benai Delaney or without losing Phoebich end up getting Satu. But Kelsey Plum going for a downgrade in Jewel Lloyd is not an ideal scenario for them. Jewel Lloyd is significantly worse than Kelsey Plum off the ball. And on the ball, in fairness to her, on the ball shot creating, give me Jewel Lloyd over Kelsey. But we also have to take into account, like, how good Kelsey Plum was in the non-Aja Wilson minutes. Like, the Aces were so good in the non-Aja minutes last season because of Kelsey Plum. Like, it was simple as that. Like, I think they were a net positive last season with Aja Wilson on the floor. And they were like, I think they were better with Aja Wilson off the floor than on the floor last year. But again, this is like, it's too small a sample size to really go on. It's like the Fever were technically better without Caitlin Clark on the floor, because if you go over the course of the season, they got pummeled by 30 points a couple of times early on in the year. So those numbers, like, it's hard to judge purely by those numbers. But they were very good with Aja Wilson off the floor as well. And the reason why they were so good with Aja Wilson off the floor was because Kelsey Plum, as a number one option, looked pretty damn good last year. And before Chelsea Gray came back, like, the team were struggling. They went on a bit of a hot streak after Chelsea Gray came back, but then people forget they really struggled again. They went on a hot streak in the last 6 or 7 games of the season, but like, they had 2 hot streaks in the season, and they were bad other than those. One was with Chelsea Gray, one was without. Like, they look good at times without Chelsea Gray too. Like, I don't think that addition really changed much in how they played. But when it came to Kelsey Plum, she was somebody that really did thrive as that first option in a way that was better than what Jewel Lloyd did in Seattle. Honestly, it was better than what Jewel Lloyd was doing in Seattle. And if you want to look at percentages, like, Jewel Lloyd took 2 more shots a game, and I think she went to the line more, and shot, I think Kelsey Plum shot like 43% from the field and 40% from 3, whereas Jewel Lloyd shot 36% from the field and 29% from 3. Like, this is a huge, huge downgrade here. And I actually haven't mentioned it, but I would assume it's a given if you're watching this video. The proposed trade is Jewel Lloyd to the Aces, Kelsey Plum to the Sparks. And what I'm guessing is some form of the 13th pick, a future pick, and Ray Burrell to the Storm. That would be my prediction. There's no, if the Storm were willing to give, or the Sparks were willing to give up the number 2 pick for Kelsey Plum, the number 2 pick would already be given. Like, it would already have gone to Seattle. And obviously, Kelsey Plum doesn't want to go to Seattle. I gave the Aces one hope, and it was getting Kelsey Mitchell instead of Kelsey Plum, because I think Kelsey Mitchell is a big upgrade over Jewel Lloyd. Like, Jewel Lloyd is not a bad player. Look, if I was Chicago, I would have really gone for Jewel Lloyd. She's still, if you want to talk about those high-volume shooter scoring 2 guards, the best in the league is Kelsey. I'll give Kelsey Mitchell best in the league based on last year. Second best, I'm giving to Kalia Copper. Third best is one of Arike. Arike on her day is the best. When Arike is not on her day, she's the worst of all these players. And Kelsey Plum, I put similar enough in like 3rd, 4th best. Or maybe, honestly, put Copper number 1. Put Copper number 1, put Kelsey Mitchell number 2. But they would be the top 2, and then Arike is just an enigma. Like, she can be the best player in the world on her day, and she can lose you a game not on her day. But then Jewel Lloyd would be probably 5th or 6th maybe last year if Kenny Carter's included in that. But like, it's still a position where she is like borderline all-star. She averaged 20 a game last year. Like, she was good. She was genuinely, genuinely good. So, like, even on a bad year, she still had moments where she looked really good. But it is one of those things where she's not going to put you over the edge. Like, you cannot go out with Chelsea Gray, who can't run anymore. Like, we're watching Unrivaled. Like, she hit a big shot down the stretch. She can still kind of create her shot sometimes. Chelsea Gray can't move. Like, that actually has to be a point. They are a big 2 right now. They're a big 2.5. Jackie Young is spectacular. A'ja Wilson, look, A'ja Wilson might be the best player in the world. Jackie Young is super. But is Jackie Young better than Sabrina Ionescu? Offensively, no. Defensively, sure. Is A'ja Wilson better than Breanna Stewart? Yeah, she is. I'll go A'ja. Yeah, at this stage, A'ja or Breanna Stewart. A'ja's in her prime, and Stewie seems to be regressing as a player. She's still unbelievable, but she still seems to be regressing. But when we look at the rest of the team, is Chelsea Gray... even go matchup for matchup. Is Chelsea Gray as good as... Who's the other guard? Leonie Fibic? No. Is Jewel Lloyd going to be as good as... Who's Jewel Lloyd even going to match up to? Lloyd will match up to... Who will play in the wing? Benai Jelani or Satu? No. And then you've got Kia Stokes versus John Quell Jones. And then you've got Niara Sabli, potentially Maureen Johannes. You've got all of these players on the bench for the New York Liberty. And it's a team that they're really a struggle against. And then if the Lynx somehow add Courtney Vandersloot, like that's a backup point guard that they really, really need. And anyone thinking she'll start over Bridget Carlton's crazy. Because their whole offense and defensive scheme is reliant on everyone being able to basically switch everything, and it's so reliant on Carlton. But like having Sloot instead of Natisha Heidemann as a backup for the Lynx, it's going to be impressive. And then the Lynx also could potentially go and get themselves like a Flaw J next year, which would be nuts as well. Or they could get themselves even better a Lauren Betts next year, depending on if Chicago end up in the lottery. But the Aces are just... They're nowhere, in my opinion, they're nowhere near the top teams. And you've also then got the top teams getting better from last year. Like, the Lynx are only going to get better. The Liberty are if they add Satu, they've gotten better. Again, I don't think Satu makes it unfair. I still would wonder about the fit from Satu. But, like, she's still an upgrade off the bench over a Benai Jelani if Fibic stays healthy. And then you've got you've got the Lynx, obviously, who are really good. And then for me, the Sun, if they run it back, the Fever and the Aces are in that other crop of teams where it's like they're going to really struggle. They're going to really, really struggle to if their goal is to win a championship. If their goal is to just be a playoff team, yeah, they'll do that comfortably enough. And it'll be interesting what happens in Mercury. But yeah, it is going to be an interesting one. The whole, they have all 4 Olympians, the Aces are unbeatable. It's kind of gone, especially because of, all the facilities that the Aces had before anyone else did. A lot of teams have those facilities. And I get it. Some people want to play in Vegas. Some people don't. And there are a lot of really good teams now in the WNBA. Like, look, the Aces were nearly unbeatable when it was a healthy Chelsea Gray, Kelsey Plum in her prime, and I think she's probably at the tail end of her prime. A'ja Wilson still in her prime, and Jackie Young becoming Jackie Young. They were near unbeatable, especially when they had Candice Parker. When Coulson was a bit younger. When Kia Stokes was playing better. When they had De'Erica Hamby. That team was basically unbeatable. This Aces team, in my opinion, might not be a top 4 seed again. So anyway, yeah, that is pretty much it. That is the video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.